All right, let's dive into something that's, well, it's a genuine leap forward. We're talking about a way to take all your personal research, your notes, your ideas, and actually turn them into powerful, interactive apps. Pretty wild, right? So let me just ask you this straight up. What if all those notes you have, the articles you saved, the transcripts, all those documents you've gathered, what if they could literally build an app for you?
And that's really the core idea here. We're talking about moving way beyond just a static folder full of files on your computer. This is about transforming all that knowledge into a dynamic, intelligent tool, something you can actually talk to and get real answers from.
Okay, so to really get our heads around just how powerful this is, let's kind of start at the end and work backwards. Let's look at what kind of app your research can actually become. So, imagine this. You've spent, say, weeks researching the best website platforms for a small business. Now, instead of just having this long, messy document, you create this, a custom interactive dashboard. You can literally input your specific needs and boom, it spits out personalized advice. And the craziest part, it's all built in just a few moments from your very own research. Okay, so the big question is, how is this even possible? Well, it all comes down to connecting two really powerful AI brains. Let's pop the hood and see what's going on.
So, this whole thing relies on two key tools from Google. On one hand, you've got NotebookLM. The best way to think about this is like it's your personal curated brain. It's the place where you organize all your sources, your articles, your videos, everything. Then, on the other hand, you have Gemini AI. And that's the powerful creative engine, the thing that can write, code, and generate all sorts of stuff. And here's the key. Until very recently, these two things lived in completely separate worlds.
But here's the magic trick. A direct bridge has finally been built between them. So now you can pull your entire curated brain from NotebookLM and plug it straight into Gemini. This means you can ground any request you make in your specific curated knowledge. That's the game changer.
All right, so you might be thinking, this sounds super complicated. But you know what? It turns out it's a surprisingly simple three-step process. No, seriously, it really is this straightforward. Step 1, inside Gemini, you just hit that little plus button and select your NotebookLM notebook. That's literally it. It's now linked as a source. Step 2, you write out a detailed prompt, just telling Gemini exactly what you want it to build. And then for the final step, you just go to the Tools menu, hit Canvas, and you let Gemini get to work, building the actual application right in front of you. Okay, now there's one crucial thing to keep in mind here, a limitation that the source material points out. It's something called a token limit. The easiest way to think of this is like the AI short-term memory, right? So if your notebook is just massive, I'm talking dozens and dozens of really long documents, the AI might not be able to hold all of that information in its memory at the same time. So for the best results, it's a good idea to keep your source notebooks focused on one specific topic.
All right, let's make this a bit more concrete. Let's go back to that website dashboard we saw at the beginning and break down exactly how it works.
So, where did the intelligence for that little app come from? Well, it didn't come from a random search of the internet. Nope, it came directly and exclusively from the information packed inside that one specific NotebookLM file. You know, all the curated articles, the reviews, the video transcripts, everything about website builders was in there.
And this just shows you the results so perfectly. You can see it right here in action. If a user in the app says they need a portfolio and have a low budget, the tool, remember, it's only pulling from the notebook's data, recommends card. But then if they change that to an online store with a medium budget, the recommendation instantly switches to Shopify. It's a real tool making smart decisions based on your very specific data.
Let's just pause on that for a second because it's kind of profound. This is a functioning tool built in just a few moments that operates entirely on your knowledge. I mean, that is a massive step beyond just a simple chat response. This is where it starts to get really interesting, because it begins to democratize development. You don't have to be a coder to build a custom tool anymore. You just need to be an expert in your own research.
But look, a simple dashboard like that, that's really just scratching the surface. This new integration opens up a whole new creative horizon.
Because think about it. When you connect NotebookLM to Gemini, you're not just getting a chatbot that happens to know your notes. You are effectively unlocking a ton of Gemini's most advanced and even experimental features. And you get to aim all that power directly at your own content.
So what else can you create? Well, the list gets pretty long pretty fast. You could conduct really deep research projects. You could have Gemini generate video scripts from your notebook, and then turn around and use its video model to create the actual videos. You could develop guided learning experiences, or even just play around with some really experimental visual layouts. The potential here is just enormous.
And that really brings us to the final and I think most important thought. We've seen how you can now plug your personal knowledge base directly into this incredibly powerful creative engine. So the only question that's really left to ask is, your knowledge is loaded, what are you going to create?